Well, hello. I finally made it. How many of you out there can tell that it's Monday? I mean, I guess technically Monday is a state of mind. I guess you would feel the same no matter what day you went back to work. But man, I am telling you what, it's been a crazy day, but I'm so glad that everybody's here. Hey, Mike. How's it going? Yeah, it's been a wild day today. Um, Typically at the last minute, somebody needs something and they need it yesterday, or they need it Friday, last Friday. Yeah. So, yeah, it's good that you're having a great day. My day wasn't bad. It's just that, I mean, somebody just needed something right at the last minute that couldn't wait. And so I was like, dadgummit, you know? And Keto Oregonian is here. I'm getting better at that name. I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see all of y'all. Um, so today, I mean, it's meat and metal, See if I can get this to show right. I'm left-handed, so I'm backwards, right? But let's see if I can get it to show. But anyway, check it out. Yeah, that's right. This is my Meat and Metal Monday shirt that I made for myself. So, meat and metal equals bliss. Meat and metal is bliss. So, and hey, Bob is here. Hey, Bob, how are you? I am so glad to see you. Fantastic. And okay, so Keto Oregonian says the boss called in sick again today. So another chill day. Oh, well, yeah, if my boss calls in sick, that means a lot more work for me. Oh man, yeah. I mean, in some ways, when the boss isn't there, it sort of feels like there's not as much pressure, but then again, it's like weird stuff, weird requests, weird. I mean, people just want weird stuff or weird problems. When you work in IT, some strange situations can come up, and they do. And they do, especially when my manager's not there. And then I have to try to figure out what to do. And most of the time I can. Ah, and so Bob is working from home, so he can watch and work. There you go. Depending on what I'm doing, I can do that. Sometimes I'll have some carnivore streams or videos playing, especially like if I'm just like monitoring a job or something like that, then I can kind of, um, chill a little bit and watch some videos. But then, like if I'm having to work on a report or something, a lot of times I have to have it just quiet so that I can concentrate. And yes, I always ask that question because you would be surprised at how many people have not restarted their computer or cleared their cache. Look, when I was doing desktop support, this is no lie. Um, Somebody had called in a problem and said that their computer wouldn't come on and it was unplugged. So sometimes it is hello, Captain Obvious. So, I mean, sometimes it is the easiest solution. Oh, yeah, that's step one. That's step one. Did you restart your computer? Well, is it plugged in? And did you restart your computer? And did you clear your browser cache? Those are usually the three things that we ask. And a lot of times that'll solve it, but a lot of times it doesn't. And so then it's a big challenge. Yeah, so I'm going to just share a little bit about what I did over the weekend in case you didn't see the N equals one update. Uh, I tried, I want to say this right, haggis, which is a traditional Scottish dish. Traditionally, it comes encased in the sheep's stomach, and it contains heart, lung, and liver. Now, they can't sell it quite that way in the United States, and in general, they use beef lung, liver, and lung. instead. And this particular version of it did not come encased in anything. So it was just served, it was minced, and it was served with eggs. And so I tried it for the first time, and it was delicious. Now, they say that hunger is the best spice, and that could be part of it. But I have to say, I enjoyed it, and I would actually eat it on a regular basis if I could find it. I had gone to the Highland Games Festival. It was in Hendersonville, which is outside of Nashville, and they celebrate the Scottish heritage. Each clan has their own, and it's not that kind of clan, folks. I mean, it's Scottish clans, and they just to clear that up, they gosh, I slay myself. But each clan has a tent, and then there are surnames that are listed that are associated with that particular clan too. I do have some Scottish in my dad's side of the family, but unfortunately, since he's adopted, I really don't know any clan names. But I went with a friend who does have a Scottish clan in his heritage, so it was fun to just experience all of that. And then I did do something else that is not exactly carnivore. Okay, it's just not carnivore. And it's easy to rationalize, like, oh, I've been good, so I'll do X. But I like to experience legitimate things. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go to a cultural event of some sort, you want to try the foods or drinks or, that the culture traditionally enjoys. So I tried mead for the first time, which is made out of fermented honey. And I had 2 servings of it, but a serving isn't very big. I don't think it's as small as a shot exactly, but a serving of mead is not very much at all, but it is stronger. I thought mead was beer, basically. I just thought it was like beer. I had no idea, but it's more closely related to wine. And I tried it and I did like it, but that'll probably be the only time I drink for a long time. But I did want to try that, and it was good. It was good. So let's see. Oh, so Bob has a clan, but unfortunately he's not a part of the rich side. The Forbes, yes. Well, yeah, I know. I understand. The story of my dad being adopted, talk about, not the rich side. My dad's birth mother actually supposedly came from a very wealthy family, and she had an affair with a railroad man, which you can bet that there were a lot of people that were not happy about that, especially when she got caught. Now, apparently she was really rebellious, and she kept my dad for about a year. And, she named him and kept him. And then I don't know if something happened to her or whether just society, pressures and that kind of thing made her give him up. But she took him to the orphanage, and he was adopted when he was about 2.5. So needless to say, I can identify with you there about not the rich side, because, it's like missed it by that much. Yes, mead is made from honey. It's fermented honey. And so I know honey is a big no-no. And I do not eat honey or any sweets for that matter. And I generally don't drink either. This was a very special occasion, and I probably will not consume any alcohol for a very long time in the future. I don't keep alcohol in the house, and I don't routinely drink it. So it's got to be a very special occasion. It might be like a glass of wine on a birthday or something, like what Dr. Berry says, you just do once in a blue moon. So that's it. And hey, we just recently had a blue moon. So there we go. Okay. Bruce says, I've never tried haggis, but I've heard strong opinions about it from folks who aren't raised on it. Would love to try it. It's delicious. I was so pleasantly surprised at how good it was. Now, granted, like I said, it wasn't the true traditional haggis in the sense that it wasn't made from the sheep's lung, heart, and liver, and it wasn't encased in the sheep's stomach. Still, I mean, apparently that's about as close as you can get in the United States. And I do need to just look up why they can't make it traditionally here, but for some reason they can't. Maybe it's the stomach part. I'm not sure. Hey, we got B-Dog in the house. Hey, how's it going? How is it going? Happy Monday afternoon after logging off from work. Yes, I had to delay my stream for a little bit because I had to work on an emergency request, shall we say, from somebody who is higher on the food chain than me. And so I had to do it. And that's just the nature of the beast. Sometimes you just have to pull one out of you know where. And so that's what I did. And it worked out okay. But I was just kind of frustrated because I was really looking forward to going live and hanging out with you guys. And hey, Ron. Ron says, honey is just bee vomit. That it is. It is bee vomit. And I normally don't consume bee vomit. But fermented bee vomit is loved by many. And it is a traditional medieval / European / Scottish drink, and I wanted to try it since I was at the festival. So that was what I did. And it was good, but I'm not going to drink anymore for a long time, if ever. I mean, I just wanted to try it just to say I had. Like I said, I was under the mistaken impression that it would taste a lot like beer. And I am not a very big beer drinker at all. There again, once in a very blue moon, I would have maybe on a hot day or something, if I were, I don't know, out on a boat or something, I might have a beer, but I don't like beer much at all, honestly. So I don't drink it. Bob says, I mentioned it a minute ago, but isn't haggis made with oats? No, there can be, this was just the minced organ meat. It did not have any oats in it. I watched them actually prepare it. I mean, the meat, they put the meat on the grill, and I actually watched them like cook it. And so they mixed some of the heart, some of the lung, and some of the liver on there, and they chopped it up. And then, they minced it. In other words, they chopped it up, and it was placed on the plate alongside with a couple of, it's not Over Easy eggs. It's the other one, but I mean, it's runny in the middle. But anyway, it was with 2 eggs. So it's very carnivore, and it was delicious. It was so good. And then also, like I said, traditionally, they put it in the stomach of the sheep, but in this case, they didn't. And yes, Chafee does call honey bee vomit. I know it is bee vomit, actually. I mean, that's technically what it is. Maybe if vomit was sweet, it wouldn't be so bad if you have to clean it up. Because honestly, like, human vomit is terrible. Bob says in 1971, it became illegal to import haggis into the U.S. from the UK due to a ban on food containing sheep lung. Aha. Okay. Well, that explains it. I had meant to look that up. And you know what happens when you mean to do something, you get around to it, and then all you have is the round thing with the word "to it" on it, and you just never do it. So I did not do it. Okay. And then Mike says, if I ever get back into great shape, I'll probably add in some honey. It is really good for you if you're good metabolically. Yeah, I would have to just see what it does to my blood sugar. I never really consumed honey much anyway. Once in a while in the winter, I would put some in my tea. I would have, I guess you would call it like a toddy without the alcohol in it. I would put like maybe a peppermint stick, some honey, and some lemon juice in some green tea. And of course, there are different recipes for toddies too, but then people, especially like, it could be a tradition all over the United States, but I know in the South they would do it. Like, that was what they would just recommend if you had a sore throat or if you were achy or sick. you would have a hot toddy. And of course, I think we all know which portion of that made you feel better. It just sounded good, I guess, to have the honey and the lemon and all of that. And then, as a little treat for the kitties, you would have like a little peppermint stick in there. But yeah, I think I know what made everybody feel better. And like I says, I had too many wasted away in Margaritaville moments. Probably had my quota. Yeah, I have to say that I've had a few of those moments, especially in my youth. As an adult, not so much, but boy, in my youth, it's amazing. Sometimes you look back and you think, man, I survived. It's a good thing by the grace of God. I think most of us can say that. And if it wasn't drinking or it was some other dumb thing that you did, because when you're young, you're dumb. You just are. Then Mike says, I still drink a bit now and then. Yeah. And I find that I feel better if I don't drink. Now on Sunday, I did not, like I said, on Saturday was the day that I went to the Highland Games Festival. I only had the two servings, whatever that size is, of the mead. And I still felt, I wasn't hungover by any means. I didn't drink enough, I don't think, to get hungover. And I mean, I had maybe like a slight little buzz that lasted a little while, but man, I felt just not quite as energetic as I normally do on Sunday. So I can it's like I can just tell now if I do drink. And so it really has to be a special occasion for me to do it, because just that little amount, I still can tell a difference. And I like feeling good all the time compared to like a buzz. Oh, and hey, my buddy. All right. Yes. Christy is here with Meeting Wellness. And I guess I can just go ahead and tell you, I put I went ahead and put the thumbnail out there. Christy and I on Thursday evening at 6:00 Central Time. So depending on what time zone you're in, it'll be 4:00 her time. We are going to do a live together, and it's just going to be a chit chat. We're just going to talk about anything and everything, just whatever you guys have on your minds. If you have any questions that we might could help you with, or if you just need some love and support, if you have women's issues that you might want to talk about, we'll certainly do our best to answer questions about that too. So I'm looking forward to it. She's going to be my first guest, and I'm excited. She's super cool. And I meant to tell you, Christy, that my daughter-in-law is also a teacher. So I have a soft spot in my heart for teachers. I admire what you all do, and you must have patience of a saint. Either that, or maybe you do like Mike and just drink a lot. Gotcha, Mike. Let's see. Bob says, haven't had a drink in 20 years here. No plans to add it back. Yeah, I don't blame you. I feel so much better if I don't drink. And like I said, it's a very planned out decision if I decide to drink, and I make sure that I don't drink because it doesn't take much for me anyway. And especially now that I'm carnivore, it really does. Because I mean, the little servings of mead that I had, I mean, it's not like I was drinking shots of like liquor. I mean, it was mead. But yeah, let's see. Bruce says honey is great on cornbread and toast. Yeah, it is. Why are you bringing up this stuff, man? You're going to be making us crave things. But bread wasn't that hard for me to give up. My kryptonite is mashed potatoes. What's y'all's kryptonite? I'm just curious, man. Mine, I miss mashed potatoes on occasion. I haven't had them in a long time. It's been a long time since I've had them. And then Bob says, haven't had any honey in a long time, except for a small bit a friend gave me from his beehives on the Big Island. Oh, okay. And the local honey, I used to buy that, and I used to take like a spoon of it, like in the spring, like for about a week. I would take like a spoon of it a day. Supposedly, the local honey has the pollen in it from local flowers. Of course, that part makes sense, but supposedly it helps with allergies. And my allergies weren't bad, but I would have, sometimes my eyes would water and stuff like that. So I would take it, and I don't know, it sort of seemed to help, but maybe that was just all in my head. Sometimes we can talk ourselves into things. We want to believe it. I don't know. Oh, hey, Nicole is here. Hey, Nicole, what's up? What's up? I'm confessing my sins. I had mead over the weekend, but not much. But I did have some. So I had some bee vomit, some fermented bee vomit. I was at a Scottish Highland Games festival, but I tried haggis, which has lung, liver, and lung, liver, and heart. Yep, traditionally from a sheep, but this was beef, and it was not in the stomach, and it didn't have any. There was no fillers or anything. Like I've heard, for example, someone mentioned earlier that like oat was in it. And so, no, it didn't have anything like that. It was minced, and it was on a plate served alongside of a couple of eggs that were running in the middle. And it was delicious. I ate every bite. It was yummy. I would eat it on a regular basis if I could get it. So I was proud of myself for trying that. And a year ago, I never would have tried haggis. I've been to the Scottish festival before, and always gone with this same friend, and he has never recommended that I try it. And he did recommend it this time, but it's because he knows I'm carnivore, so he knows that I've been trying and eating cod liver, sardines, things like that, liverwurst. So he knows that I've branched out a bit, and it was fun to try traditional food and drink. So let's see. Oh, Carnivore said, hiked to my chair at work and sat down all day. This morning was one of the mornings I was running a little bit late, and I was very tempted not to go walking. And that's another thing that is so not like me. So I don't know. Like I said, I was running a little bit late. So maybe that had part to do with it. And I didn't do 2.5 miles today. I'm really not sure how far I went because I still haven't gotten that stupid Fitbit charged. I got to figure out how to do it. I mean, I feel so dumb. I mean, you'd think you could just Google it, but it's not that simple. So I don't know. I've just got to figure out. I got to get my daughter maybe she forgot to give me the charger that goes with it or something, because I've tried to figure out how to charge it just using a charger. I even have one of those little flat things that you can just lay a phone on and charge. And I tried laying that Fitbit on there, and that didn't work either. So I don't know. Or who knows, maybe the Fitbit just doesn't work anymore. It's possible. I don't know. Okay, we've got some kryptonite in here. Oh, Reese's peanut butter cups. When I would have something sweet, that would be one. But another thing that I would have on occasion if I had something sweet was peanut M&Ms. And so I didn't buy them very often. I mean, this was like way back. I mean, I haven't had peanut M&Ms in I don't know how long. But I'm just saying, like back when I was not paying attention to diet. Oh, for sure. I would get peanut M&Ms, and if there were Reese's peanut butter cups around, they were very tempting for me. So Nicole just says chocolate. So yeah, I think that's true of many of us. We definitely have an issue with chocolate. Another thing that I miss once in a while is pizza. I have gone off carnivore, like back in March. I had let's say a cauliflower crust pizza at a restaurant called the Billy Goat in Monteagle, Tennessee. And that's probably, I think that's the last time, other than this past weekend, that well, I don't know. I don't know. I want to be honest with you, but to tell you the truth, I haven't been tracking things that much. Now, I do know that generally speaking, I mean, I don't keep sweets in the house. I don't keep anything like that. And I'm just trying to think. I know on my birthday, which was March 1st, I had a little bit of hash browns. I know that's a weird thing to cheat with, but they were good. Hello, potatoes, right? Mashed potatoes is my big kryptonite, but honestly, I never met a potato I didn't like. So that's the hard one. And so Mike's other one is cherry cheesecake. Yeah, that is one that's hard to pass up. I recently went to a lunch thing, and we were celebrating someone's birthday there, and they brought cheesecake, and it was really hard not to eat any of it. But yeah. Oh, wait a minute. B-Dogs, chocolate. Yeah, I'm sure it is for a lot of people, chocolate. And just like, it doesn't even matter. It's kind of like with me and potatoes. Mashed ones are the ones that come to mind initially. However, when you sweet potatoes, you have a baked potato, you have au gratin potatoes, you have hash browns, and, all different kinds of potatoes. So, and I like them all. I've never met one I didn't like. And then Keto Oregonian says, I can't pick just one kryptonite. Well, but we all have kryptonite, right? And then Keto Oregonian says, you have to have the charger that magnetically attaches to the back. See, I thought, and now maybe I dreamed this, but my daughter gave it to me when we went to the low carb for life. Duh, Carrie, get it out. Low carb for life, where Dr. Berry was speaking. But she gave me the Fitbit then, and I could have sworn she had it sitting on the dresser on just, using just a regular phone charger. And I don't know. I was trying to see if I could get the back off. Then I was like, I don't want to tear it up. So I don't know. Oh, weird. Okay, let's see. Mike says, the first time I did keto, I got frustrated, so I got pizza in a blizzard. Part of my yo-yo diet story. Yeah, when I was expecting my daughter, I craved tropical blizzards. She was born the year that they came out. And I sure did. I was craving them, and my favorite was the tropical. And I would get that in Taco Bell. So that's very nutritious. Until they told me that I had gestational diabetes. And here's something very strange. Now, this was back in 1984 was when I was expecting her. And they tested me and everything and did the glucose tolerance test, and then said that I had gestational diabetes. And they told me not to eat anything white, which was, like rice, potatoes, bread. And they gave me this little book, and it just says to eat meat and vegetables. This is true. And I just remember sitting there thinking, y'all were wanting me to gain weight because, I was skinny. I looked like a toothpick with an olive stuck in the middle when I was pregnant. and they were like, but they wanted me to gain weight. And I said, well, how am I going to gain weight eating this? So, I knew that the things that they were telling me not to eat would make you gain weight, I guess. But it was just funny because they actually told me not to eat the potatoes and bread and stuff like that. Now you fast forward to 10 years when I was expecting my son. Well, it was 9.5 years. And it was totally different. They did the glucose tolerance test on me again. And this time, though, I had been avoiding foods that got me into trouble, the first time I was expecting. And so they gave me the glucose tolerance test, and I failed it. And they told me that it was so bad that they wanted me to come back to double check it, because if If it wasn't, if the result wasn't a fluke, then I would need insulin. Now, see, there's a big difference here. They were talking about using medication to correct my problem instead of telling me not to eat carby food. So that's what 9.5 years did. So it's very interesting. And Bruce says, I was raised on fresh baked bread that my grandmother on my dad's side made. Mom's mom was Czech and made awesome kolaches. I think I said that right. So those things are my kryptonite. That, I'll bet that was very worthy kryptonite. Yeah, very difficult to give that up. Bob says, in late January, though I've been carnivore for almost 4 months at the time, I had some pizza a day or two after having bilateral knee replacements. I just had a tremendous craving for it. And look, we're all human. You know, we have cravings, and it just happens. But that was back in January. But yeah, pizza can call your name. I've been in a couple of situations where there was pizza that looked really good. But now I will tell you this. I have, when was the last I ate pizza with my brother? I think about a year ago. He came over to my house just to hang out. And what we do is, like, about once every week, my brother will come over and we'll pick some old vintage movie to watch. And one or the other of us will arrange for dinner. And so he brought pizza, and I ate pizza. And boy, afterward, I was bloated and I was miserable because, you know, I was ketovore then. And I said, I'm not eating pizza again. And so I haven't had like true pizza since then. I have had the cauliflower crust pizza twice in the last year. I think I've had it twice in the last year. But 1984. She must be a Van Halen fan. Also the year I started in radio. Yep, she was born on July 11th, so I call her my 7-11 baby. And then my son was born on October 4th, so he's my 10-4 baby. So it's like you just use these weird associations in your head to remember birthdays. So, but yeah, so she's a 7-11 baby. Hey, Pam, Peachy, how are you? It's good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. All right. All the usual suspects. And hey, we got Running Tap from Australia. All right. I got another international person. I had one the other day from New Zealand, NZ. I did. So this is cool. This is cool. Oh, and I remembered that phrase that they use a lot in NZ. And I think they use it in Australia too. It's just like end of. So like if you say like, they are the best band in the world, end of, and you're like, end of what? And like, no, that's just end of. It's like, it's like what we would say here in the United States. We would say they are the best band in the world, period. But apparently, so yeah, I just thought that was cool. I do a lot of reading. Okay. Do you think there's any benefit in lemon and garlic to protect from colds and flus? We were talking about kind of a slightly related subject earlier about like whether local honey would keep you from having allergies. Lemon. Now see, lemon might, I mean, if it was a very small amount of lemon, I mean, lemon technically isn't carnivore, but if it were a very small amount, I don't think the garlic would really hurt anything. And I just think if you wanted to try that and see if it helps, then there wouldn't be any harm. It's just, you know, technically speaking, if you're carnivore, now if you're not carnivore, if you're ketovore or whatever, then you would just make sure that, and you know, another good idea would be too, is after you take this, to then check your blood sugar afterward and see if it jacks your sugar up. And that'll let you know too whether you need to be taking that or not. And whether, because I just don't think that if it's jacking your sugar up, it would be very beneficial. What do you guys think in the comments. What do you all think about Running Tap's question? It's a good question. And of course, Witty Mike. How's tomorrow going? Yeah, is tomorrow going to be a good day? So yes, see, she's in the Running Taps in the future, 8:30 in the morning there. Well, Running Tap, just give me a heads up if it's going to be a bad day so I can prepare myself. So yes, it is encouraging. Tomorrow is coming. Tomorrow is coming. So anybody have anything that they want to vent, talk about? I do have something else I'm going to tell you. My brother and I are going to see Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be a good day because I don't have to work tomorrow. I learned my lesson. You know why I had to start my live stream late today? Well, the same thing always happened when I would say I needed to leave work early. So I just decided that I was going to just like schedule the whole day off if I had something to do. That way, I'm not stressed. I'm not worried about whether I'm going to get off work in time to, get cleaned up and all of that or, just to be in a rush to try to make it on time or whatever. This way, I know because I am, I'm not on the clock. My work computer is off. And so whatever happens can wait until I get back. But if I happen to be there and I know that there's something that I need to do, then I just have to do it. So Mike says, I was a TV anchor the morning of December 31st, 1999. Oh, yeah, everybody was worried about Y2K. I remember that. And you know what? I remember watching all the news footage, like from around, like, for example, in Australia. Yes, we showed live fireworks from Sydney and knew it was going to be okay. Exactly, because it's like, well, hey, if they're okay, then we're good to go. I actually didn't believe in any of that Y2K stuff because I was studying for my computer information systems degree. And basically I understood why that wasn't going to do what everybody said it was. It was just a lot of fear mongering. So it has to do with timers. In other words, like they were talking about water supplies and all this. But here's the thing with those things with the timer, those things didn't rely on the year. They relied on like times. And so as an example, but there were a lot of other reasons. Oh, so Running Tap's getting ready to start work. SOS. Same stuff, different day, right? Only not stuff. Yeah, tomorrow includes work figures. Yes, except for me. I'm not going to work tomorrow. Oh, nope. Carnivore says, I would say it's more important to wash your hands and keep them away from your face when you're out to avoid colds and flus, but I'm not that informed on natural solutions other than meat. Yeah, I think possibly there could be some basis for some of these things. Here's the issue though. Sometimes it's just really hard to tell because sometimes things can be a coincidence and humans are programmed to think of things in patterns. So like, let's say, for example, that I do take local honey, a spoonful of local honey for a week, and then I don't have issues with allergies, and maybe the pollen's not as bad this year, or maybe my immune system is better, or just something. Maybe there's some other thing that is factoring into that. So it's like my N=1 experiment. I really wanted to do one thing at a time, but I've got a couple of different variables with the water, not drinking the seltzer water anymore, and then also giving up the coffee with the butter. So I'm really not going to know which one, if any, or both of them possibly made a difference. I'm really not going to know. So my N equals 1 in that regard really isn't going to prove anything. It could be an association. Like, for example, if I do start eating more and if I do gain muscle, then maybe we can say at least that we can't really say those things. We can't say that those things cause you to not eat or whatever, but at the same time, you can't really say that they don't. It's what is it? It's association, is not, causation. So Bob says, I don't touch lemon or garlic anymore. So nope, not at least for me. On the other hand, I haven't had a cold or flu since going carnivore. And that's true. My health has been fantastic. I was, like I said, I'm really not sure how long I was ketovore, because I just sort of gradually went from low carb, and then I just sort of reduced the amount of vegetables that I ate on my own, because for one thing now, I did like salads on occasion, but boy, when I would eat them, the raw vegetables killed me. So that was a no-go. I just stopped eating salads altogether. And so the only time I would have vegetables is like steamed broccoli or steamed cauliflower with some cheese. And that was rare. So I was eating mostly meat anyway. And I don't know, I guess the little bit of vegetables that I was eating really did make a difference in terms of my health, because when I stopped eating vegetables altogether, just miraculous. My energy level just out of this world. No anxiety, none. And some of my work situations that I get into could really stress me out, and they don't anymore. It's not that I enjoy those situations, because I don't. It's not fun to have to pull something out of nowhere. Can be quite painful. Okay, so Bob says, I work in IT at a large company and revamped a lot of code for Y2K. We had exactly 0 issues, even with the stuff we didn't complete. Yeah. One thing that helped with Y2K was the massive computer upgrades. Well, it could have been. Yeah, that's true, because people were trying to get the newer computers that accommodated the 4-digit year. Running Tap says, I haven't had a cold in 3 years. Funny about that. Yeah, isn't it? Carnivore is great. Now, my health, don't get me wrong, when I went keto, and that was in 2015, and I was pretty strict keto. I'm not going to say that I was perfect all those years, because I wasn't, but I was pretty strict with it, because becoming diabetic scared the crap out of me, to be honest. After I saw how my mother's health and quality of life deteriorated, I was like, I don't want that. Nope. And so I was very cognizant about that. So my labs and everything, other than that pesky LDL. Oh, and that's another thing. So Wednesday morning is lab day. That's right. That's lab work day. So we will definitely see what happens when it comes to, being carnivore. Did my LDL was like 198 or something. I mean, it was, and before I started low carb, it was like 112. So, yeah, it went up quite a bit. I think even one time it went over 200, but the last time I had it checked, had labs done about a year ago, it was like at 198 or something like that. And of course, every year, the little nurse, she'd call me up and tell me that well, the doctor recommends a statin. And I'm like, yeah, I bet he does. Can you tell me what my A1C was? Oh, it was 4.9. Oh, fantastic. That's better than 99.9% of the population. What about my fasting glucose? Well, that was 89. All right, that's great. What were my triglycerides? Oh, they were 77. Oh man, my triglycerides are fantastic. So that means my metabolic health is great. So no, I'm not worried about a statin. So that's what I tell her. And she'd say, okay, that's that. Mhm. Yeah. Correlation is not causation, but sometimes a great place to start your investigation. It is. I haven't found the energy like people talk about. Hi, Karen, by the way. I do have my moments where I go, 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 but by 2 or 3 p.m., I'm done. Yeah, and that's true too. But of course, I really do think that everybody is just different. And it just depends on what's been going on with you. I also think that stress, and I used to get so mad when I was younger, and people would blame issues, health issues, and stuff on stress. But as I've gotten older, I've definitely changed my stance on that. I believe stress can cause a lot of health issues. And so that's something to think about too. And one thing that I did notice initially with carnivore too was that I was getting less sleep. It was really strange. It was like I would go to bed and then I'd wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, just whoop, wide awake. And I'm like, oh man, I don't need to be up this early. Not at 3 o'clock. Oh, terrible. Oh, okay. Yeah. Have to redo your thyroid labs. Well, keep us posted on what happens. It would be interesting to see. And I know Dr. Berry talks too about, thyroid issues as being one of the things that can affect weight loss. And it can also just affect your energy levels and how you feel. So for sure. And then Bob says, I don't have any more labs scheduled until January. I'm interested in how it will change now that I fast a couple days a week. Oh, yeah. I do remember, and I actually didn't do it. I didn't fast intentionally. It's just that I didn't eat a couple years ago before I got my labs done. And my fasting blood sugar was a little higher than usual. And I've actually heard Dr. Berry say that that happens too. So I believe I've heard Dr. Berry recommend that, fasting is fine, but then like before you get your lab work done, don't fast for any longer than like 12 hours, like 12 hours, 12 to 14 hours right in there, because otherwise then other metabolic, and it's physiological changes. It's not something that's, like a chronic health problem. It's just something that your body naturally does, but your fasting blood sugar could go up if you haven't eaten in longer than like 14 hours. So it's just interesting. And then Karen says, I'm not full carnivore. All meals are meat based, but still have a yogurt in the evening. But yogurt is carnivore. It's a meat. It's a meat product. Oh God, I sound like the My Plate people. Um, Yogurt is an animal product. So I believe that you would still be considered to be carnivore unless you're eating other like vegetables. Um, so someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I really think that that's carnivore. Now, like some people, and I can understand why, like some people think that the lion diet, for example, is like true carnivore, but it's just a very strict version of carnivore. But in reality, you can have dairy. It's just that a lot of people can't tolerate it, and so they give it up. I mean, I gave up all dairy, and I am eating a little bit of the full fat Greek yogurt myself. So, I mean, maybe by somebody's rules, I'm not carnivore, but I believe that I am, and I believe you are too, Karen. And Bob says, I'm not planning on fasting other than 12 to 14 hours. Yeah, but I'm doing full 36 to 48 fasts twice a week these days. Yeah. Let us know how your labs are. And of course, I'm going to be reporting on mine because either my doctor's going to have a cow, or I've actually heard that some people, when they go carnivore, their labs, because they're eating so much more meat and fat than they had previously, that some people, their LDL actually goes down from when they were on keto. I've heard of that happening. I don't know that that would happen to me, but it would be interesting. I don't want like really low LDL, because then, I mean, there are lots of benefits to having a decent LDL level. So like for me, I mean, anything, I'm really cool with it. It isn't bothering me, but I know the medical profession, some of them have hissy fits over it. And Karen says, yes, Jamie Livingston, stress is a real thing. Since I retired in May, stopped high blood pressure medicine and got A1C down from 5.7 to 5.5. Mm-hmm. Oh, and like I said, I used to just get ticked off if somebody said that, some health related thing that I had was due to stress. I would just be like, why do people say that? I didn't realize, I guess, at the time that really the natural human state is health, and that we weren't meant to be in that fight or flight situation all the time. I mean, like if you're in traffic or you're in a meeting and somebody makes you mad, or you react to them in anger. I'm trying to change my outlook to where so-and-so doesn't make me mad. I choose how I react to that person. Now, it's easier said than done. True. However, I have found that that also helps me to just, remain even keeled. And truthfully, I don't have like just sudden reactions to things anymore. It's like I'm just more even keeled about, when a situation comes up. And Lord knows I've had several in the last few weeks, so I'm due for a break now. I'm not saying that I enjoyed those situations. It was not fun being without running water for 2 days. It was not fun having to pay a plumber to come and fix what the water company screwed up. Oh, but I feel even worse for my neighbor across the street, because they like tore the crap out of his driveway and part of his yard, and then they just basically like just kind of piled it all back up, and then they put some asphalt over what they did like at his driveway, and it looks awful. I would be mad. I would be like going to my councilman or something. But I mean, from what I understand, it just stinks to be you. If your water line messes up, oh well. If it's on their side, they'll fix it, but they don't have to make it pretty. And they don't. Okay, yeah, Jamie says, lion is carnivore is keto. No dairy and meat. Carnivore is keto. Ketovore is keto. Keto is keto. Well, yeah, but no dairy and meat. Carnivore is keto. That's true. Yeah, right. But what I was saying is, a lot of people think carnivore is you don't have dairy with carnivore. And a lot of people who are carnivore don't have dairy for various reasons. They just can't tolerate it, or it triggers cravings and that sort of thing. For me, I sort of was doing an N=1 experiment and didn't really realize it. I had forgotten to get some yogurt, and then I'm not a huge cheese eater anyway, and I hadn't had any cheese in a good while, so I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just go without dairy. So other than butter, which a lot of people don't count as dairy, I mean, but anyway, other than butter, I did not have dairy for a few weeks. And the first time I introduced the full fat yogurt back in, I ate too much. I'm pretty convinced that's what happened, because I've reintroduced it in the last several days in smaller amounts, and it has not bothered me. So I'm going to continue to eat my full fat Greek yogurt. I'm just not going to eat any of the other dairy. and I'll do that for a while and see how that goes. And at some point I might introduce, or maybe just have small amounts of cheese at some point, but right now I'm not really interested in it. And right, Bob, a high LDL reading is not a disease. It's the results of a lab test. What it means is has a lot to do with your metabolic health. Exactly. And since all my other numbers were great, I'm not worried about it. I'm really not. I'm not. I am much more concerned about becoming diabetic than I am about whether my LDL is up. And I don't know how bought into the whole diet heart thing my doctor is, because as I've said before, he doesn't really like nag me about it. Like he might mention it. And like for example, like he might mention Wednesday, he might say, last year your LDL was up. And I'll be like, yeah, it was, but everything else looked good. And all I'm concerned about is my metabolic health. And then that's it. I mean, that's all he says. So, but if he ever starts nagging, like if my LDL becomes like 275 or something, then who knows, I might end up going to my brother's doctor, because he knows he's cool with carnivore at least. I mean, he didn't have a cow when my brother talked about it. So, and Bruce says, I accidentally went 40 hours fasting before my last blood work. I'm going to repeat them at the end of this month, and we'll keep it below 14 hours. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard it can really mess up your lab results if you fast too long. And like I said, I made that mistake once, and because I was like, this is not typical. My fasting glucose was a lot higher. It was like 101 or something, 102, something like that. It was over 100. I mean, it wasn't like 120 or anything like that, but it was in the low, like 101, 102. And Mike says, I'm not losing weight as fast as I was last time on OMAD. Could be the heavy cream. Harder to lose the fat as an old dude, I hear. Well, what? You've been talking to some old dudes lately? Yep, and that's another reason why folks give up dairy. They give up dairy because it causes them to stall out. So you might consider giving up the heavy cream for a while and just do a little N=1 experiment and just see what happens. And then if it doesn't help, then you can add that heavy cream back in, and then maybe there's some other thing that you're eating that you don't realize is bothering you. And I know that people say it, but it's funny when you really start looking at what you eat, even certain like spices and rubs that people put on their meat. You just have to be really careful about that. Once you get to looking at the ingredient list and just realizing, oh crap, I didn't know it had sugar in it, or I didn't know it had, XYZ in it. So it's just something to think about. And then Mike says, considering a sardine fast to kick it in. Mm-hmm. Well, I never would have thought I'd see the day that I would say that I liked sardines. I actually love them. I can honestly say I love them with hot sauce on them. I mean, I could eat them by themselves without anything, but they're just delicious with hot sauce on them. And I still eat a can of them a day. So I don't know if my body has actually been craving nutrients, because I was taking like fish oil and stuff, but I wonder now how much of that I was really absorbing. Like I've heard Dr. Berry say, for example, that, the fish oil supplements are basically worthless. And I'm wondering now if that isn't true, because I have been eating the heck out of the sardines. It's like my body just wants, and they taste so good. Now, unfortunately, with cod liver tastes okay, but it is slimy. It just reminds me of that stuff that, not Play-Doh, but there was this slimy ooze maybe, or goo or something that the kids used to play with. And it was just all slimy and gross. And that's what the cod livers remind me of. So I mix a bunch of hot sauce in with a can of them, and I just eat them as quick as possible. And I eat them about once a week. But I would eat haggis every day if I could get some. And then Bob says it's not always that the docs have bought into the LDL hypothesis. Many of them have to answer to the boards, which insist on a standard of treatment, and they may face discipline if they don't mention LDL. They do. And that's why I think that my doctor probably is ticking a box. I have also, of course, I've been going to the same doctor for years. And so, like, I might talk to him like other people maybe wouldn't talk to their doctor, because I feel like I've just known him, and he's a cool guy. He has always been respectful and nice. And he asks about my family and my kids and all this. So it's almost, it's not like we're friends exactly, but, I've just known him a long time. But he doesn't nag me about it. And as long as he doesn't nag me, I think he's just ticking a box. And he's also talked about where he's been frustrated because he has to do so much stuff on the computer. There's so much that they have to log now that, talking to your patients face to face, it's frustrating because you don't get to do that as much. He has expressed that to me. So I think he's just a good guy. And I think what's happened to a lot of doctors is they're forced by a system that stinks. They go into it and they think and they believe that they're going to be helping people, and they come out, of course, exhausted because of just the grueling work that it takes to become a doctor. And then most of them have a bunch of student loans. So they're in debt up to their eyeballs. And then many of them buy into a practice. And so they just owe a lot of money. And then there's all the red tape and everything that they have to go through. And, people talk about doctors being on easy street and rolling in the dough. And maybe possibly some of these specialists maybe don't have the same issues as like a regular family physician, GP, that kind of thing. But I would just say that being a doctor overall would be very stressful, just having to toe the line all the time. And I can understand why they would get very frustrated with the system and be very burnout. It's just terrible. It's awful the way it is now. Just terrible. And so B-Dog says, I'll be cutting back on dairy in October. Aha. October's going to be is it cut out dairy? Are you going to cut the cheese in October? Sardines, eggs, ribeye, perfect foods. Yeah, and honestly, if you eat those things, and then on occasion some form of liver, although Dr. Chafee doesn't seem to think that you really have to eat much. I don't know that you have to eat much of it, but I would think that you would need to eat some to get those nutrients, but maybe not. I don't know. I need to look into that a little bit more. Yeah, when I get around to it, right? Jamie says, I can only find sardines in sunflower oil or tomato sauce. Oh, geez. You know what you might do is just get the ones that are in tomato sauce, and then which I know would be a pain in the butt to do, and then just rinse the tomato sauce off. Any residual amount, as long as there's not something else other than tomato sauce in it. And maybe if you rinse the tomato sauce off of it, maybe that would be a good way that you could eat them. Like I said, I know that would be a pain to have to do that. Man, that really stinks. I order, of course, you can get them just packed in water here in the United States. Like I can get them, in Kroger, Walmart, places like that, Publix. But sometimes I'll just order them from Amazon and order like 24 at a time. I started doing that actually because I just am like, I love them. I'm just going to keep eating them until my body says that I don't need them anymore. All right. Let's see. In high school, my son wanted to be a cardiologist. He decided against it because of the years and years and years of schooling. There's that, but then he's probably would be glad that he never did it, because although maybe I don't know though, cardiologists have a really hard line to follow too. Yeah. It's just a shame the way the whole medical system is set up. Yeah, it's a shame. Let's see. And Mike also says Chafee talks about the percentage of liver in a cow and says it makes sense to eat that proportion. So once a week sounds about right. Yeah, and it's a good thing because I'm just not loving cod. I mean, there again, gosh, it's the texture of it. That's what it is. It's the texture. Now, there may be a way that I could blend it and mix it in with something else. I don't know. But I just think that, truthfully, if I just mix it up with a bunch of hot sauce and then just like eat it real fast, the texture doesn't bother me so much. Now, if I get it in my mouth and like moving around a little bit, like I'm chewing on it or something, I mean, it's really weird because it's like blobs, like little slimy blobs. It's not that appetizing to me, but Jamie says only the best hunters got to eat the liver. That could be. I guess that's true. Or they could. Now, I've seen in some cultures, like there again, this is my based on just reading, so I'm no expert by any means, but like it would be the liver or different organ meats would, like the heart sometimes, would be given to someone in honor. So like a hunter could honor his father, or he could honor his wife even. And I'm thinking specifically about a series of novels that I read about the Native Americans, where I read that. It was this Spanish Bit series, which is a really good series of books by Don Goldsmith. It seems to me I remember mentioned in that book that the organ meats and things like that were given as honor. So it was given to the hunters to do with what they wanted, I guess, in that culture. And I'm sure that other cultures probably had something similar. So yeah, the hunter could just be like, okay, I'm going to eat it myself tonight, or I'll share it with so-and-so, or I'm just going to give it away. And then Mike says a local butcher could grind liver into your burger, or you could get a meat grinder. Meat grinder. That would be a good name for a channel. It would. It would also be a good name for a band. I don't know if you all know, but like when I was a teenager, that's what I used to do, is like I would just think of band names and then I would design logos and stuff for the band. I always used to think, man, it'd be so cool if I could just like find a band that needed an image, because I've got it right here. And Jamie says, I was going to say a band. Yeah, exactly. And I guess we haven't really talked too much about metal, which I am all open for talking about metal. Like I said, my brother and I are going to see Alice Cooper in downtown Nashville tomorrow night. He's driving, thank God. I don't have to work tomorrow. But I've got an Alice Cooper t-shirt from 1988 that I'm going to wear to the show. I need to check the weather, though, and see what it's going to be, because I don't know if I'll need to wear a jacket. I kind of hope I don't need to wear a jacket, because I want to be able to like show my shirt off. Because the last time my son and I went and saw Alice Cooper, and people were commenting on my shirt. They thought it was cool. So, and I think it's cool. Meat grinder. And it could be like a show kind of like Metal Shop. Anybody remember Metal Shop? But yeah, so yes, I am wearing my Meat and Metal is Bliss shirt. That's right, because that's how I feel. And I've had people ask me about this shirt, like just wearing it out somewhere. And that gives them a good opportunity for me to talk about Carnivore, or to talk about metal, or to talk about just whatever. But I use it as a conversation piece. Like they'll say, well, what's that shirt? Or I like that shirt. Yeah, meat, and then I'm like, yeah, I eat only meat and I love metal. So this makes me happy. And then I might even tell them about my YouTube channel. So I don't know if anybody from real life has ever gone to see my YouTube channel, I've told some folks about it. I'm not ashamed at all. Some of my, a lot of my friends and people know about it. But I've only told them about it, and I haven't asked them if they've watched anything. I just figure if they want to watch something, they can. And I'm certainly not going to say anything ugly or that would give anybody's name out, nothing that would ever, cause harm to anybody. So I don't care if my friends and family watch. And I hope they do. And maybe then they'll really see how happy and, just energetic I am and how I want to spread the word about carnivore, because the world doesn't have to be this stressed, people. They don't have to be anxious all the time, and they don't have to just have this angry, ugly look on their face. They can enjoy life. And that's not to say when bad things happen that you're going to be happy about it, but you're just calmer about it, and you just think about the best way to deal with it. You're not just tense. I can't, it's hard to describe, but it's just meek mellow. I don't know. It's just, and there again, my anxiety was somewhat better on keto. I can tell you though that it is completely gone, and that I am actually a level calmer. So actually a level calmer. And then B-Dog says, I saw Alice Cooper in the 70s. Yes. Oh, I've watched some. I didn't see him that early. I saw him in, I think it was like 1982. And then I saw him again in 88. And then since then, me and my son have seen him 3 times. I love Alice Cooper. He's just awesome. And I don't have a shirt from the 82 show. I wish I did. But I do have one from 88. And I've got one. I can't remember if I bought one the last show, but I got one from the show before that. So I love Alice Cooper. Sell those shirts, merch. Well, I kind of thought about it, but I don't want people to think that I'm just doing this for like money, because I'm not. Although it wouldn't hurt my feelings if people wanted the shirts. And another thing too is that I've got to figure out how this monetization thing works, because I think I'm pretty sure you have to have like 1,000 subscribers, I think. And then you got to have like gobs of watch hours. So maybe if the channel blows up, then I can put a link, because I've actually checked into having the shirts made, just because, just to check into it. I've thought about the merch. I really, like when I designed the other one that I did, I don't know if you've seen it. I wore it, I think when I was on Carrie's channel. Yes, I was wearing it. And it was the one of Welcome to My Metamorphosis. And it's got the lightning flash with the tiger roaring. I just was like designing a concert shirt for myself is what I was doing. But it is a great conversation piece. I've had a lot of people ask me what that shirt was, and it gave me the opportunity to tell them. Carnivore Zen is real. It is. Mike says, Carrie, it's okay. Sell some merch. Well, I will sell some then. If anybody is interested, I've done a little bit of preliminary research, and I've got like a little shop, but I don't push merch or anything. I can't advertise it on my channel anyway. I can't like put a link to it like Carrie and them do, because I'm not monetized, and you have to be monetized to do that. But if anybody is interested in a shirt, I can give you the link to my Spreadshirt. Actually, nobody has bought anything off of it. So I presume that the link that I have, I can click on the link and get to it. So I suppose it would help if I made a purchase from that site, but I have not. I purchased prototype shirts, but like through the shop, if that makes sense. So YouTube partner program, 1,000 views and 4,000 hours of watch time. They now turn on some monetization at 500 subs. Well, I wonder, I'm at like 300 and something, 360-ish. Huh. put the link in your description on every video. Well, I didn't think, are you allowed to do that? I thought that you just couldn't. Maybe, all right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just put the link in this video, the description of this one. And if anybody wants to click it and see if it works and give me some feedback and let me know, I would be honored if somebody bought my shirts. That would be like a really cool thing. I was just messing around and doing it. And I don't know, this is just me. So if anybody is interested, I will go ahead and put the link in the description. And okay. All right. Well, cool. Okay. Well, I'll have one sale. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I just don't want people to, because look, I love designing. I'm not going to lie. I love designing logos and shirts and stuff. And I'll just like have an idea and then I just get to messing with it. And that didn't even feel like work to me. I can just spend hours just playing around with, shading and just positioning and all that stuff. It's fun. So, if anybody did buy a shirt, I would be truly honored if they did. That would just, gosh, and then I could just send a screenshot to my kids and just be like, look, somebody bought a shirt. I think my kids, they love me, and I'm glad they do. They love me and they honor me. I mean, in other words, like, especially like both of them do. And my daughter's low carb. Like I said, my son, he eats tons of meat, but he eats tons of other stuff too, like pizza and everything else. So, he is not trying to be low carb, but he honors that. And when I sent the YouTube links, and my son is an engineer and he's very pragmatic. He's so freaking logical. And, so he doesn't get excited about much. But so I trust him to give me opinions. And he did say that the shirts looked, because I didn't want to get shirts made and then like have them look goofy. Like no shirts are made yet. They're print to order. But I mean, I'm talking about shirts made for me to wear out somewhere, because I didn't want to wear a goofy looking shirt. Like, well, that's stupid. Isn't that terrible? Oh, Lord. Oh, hey, Health Right Now. Okay, so people will buy them. Well, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I guess I was misunderstanding what the rules were. I'll just stick a link in the show notes, and then if somebody happens to stumble upon that link, then I guess it just means that nobody's going to see like the little shirts down below, and they're not going to see, like they're not going to see the designs. In other words, somebody would have to know they're there and look, know that the link is there, I guess. Right. So that's what I will do. I will do that. I'll put a link there and start putting the link in the show notes. But if you have a problem, like if that link that I give you doesn't work, let me know. And, because maybe there's something else I need to do to turn the shop on. I don't know. I'm a newbie at this. All right. Oh, Mike made a calendar, sold 4 of them, 3 of them to me. Hey, nothing wrong with that. It was funny. It probably was. Knowing you, it probably was funny. I bet it was. And Mike, that means you had a market. That's right. Well, that's kind of true. I mean, yeah, people should look at like analytics and all that. But you know what? I actually was also just thinking, what would I like to see, or what would I like to wear? Now, I'm a weird person. I marched to the beat of a different drummer. I will tell you, though, that I just enjoy designing and doing this stuff. So I figure, maybe there's somebody else out there like me who might like it too. And I always did. I wanted to design logos and album covers so bad when I was in high school. I think I've mentioned before that I would just sit in my room for hours and hours and just draw and listen to music. And man, I had these bands all imagined. Like one of them was Fenris Wolf. That was the name of one of the bands. And I designed the logo with the wolf head and the moon and all this thing. And they had kind of like a Nordic image, not quite as goofy as Manowar. I mean, I loved Manowar's music, but they looked, yeah, that was like a little bit too much, I think. But man, I loved All Men Play on 10. That was a great song. And then B-Dog says, oh, yeah, heard they're changing rules all the time. That's probably true. And that way, if you don't know the rules, you don't know whether you're breaking them or not, right? This is a crapshoot. Oh, geez. Joe at 2KK would wear them all. What? Really? Huh. Mike says, you have talent, Carrie. Put it out there. You never know. Well, I guess you don't. That's true. I'm just going to put it out there then, and I'll see what happens. I just don't. Two things. I don't want people to think that I'm doing this for money, because I'm not. And number two, although it would not break, I'm not going to lie. If my shirt suddenly went viral and just everybody in the carnivore community was like, hell yeah, I want one of those shirts, and they bought them, I would be like, I'm retiring tomorrow and I'm doing this full time, because I would really love to do this full time. That's what I would love to do. I want to help people. I want to encourage people. I want to share about the carnivore lifestyle. I want to be in the community. And I was sitting there working today, and I like what I do for like a day job for a living. But this, I don't know. It doesn't even feel like work. This and designing shirts and coming up with thumbnails and just experimenting with all this stuff, it doesn't feel like work. Now, maybe at some point, maybe if you get big and jaded, it might. I don't know. But right now, it sure doesn't. It's fun. And I love engaging with everybody. I love encouraging people. I may not know the answers, but I'll sure try to help the best I can. Love Two Crazy Ketos and Serious Keto. Oh, Serious Keto. Steve wears a lot of statement shirts. Well, who knows? Boy, if 2KK would wear them, I think maybe that would be nice. I would be honored if they did, or anybody. Serious Keto. I'm going to have to check out Serious Keto, because I don't think I've ever watched Serious Keto. I'm going to have to check that one out. Serious Keto. Sorry, guys. I'm going to write that down, though. All right. Got it. Okay. Did you design Bat Out of Hell? That was some awesome artwork. I wish I did. I used to love that type of art, though. I would paint like warriors on a steed. They'd be charging into battle with their standard and stuff like that. Yeah, I love that stuff. Vikings. I became very fascinated with Vikings. And I actually did my term paper in high school on Vikings. Their culture, just everything about them. And of course, anybody ever thinks about Vikings is the R word and pillage. And there was so much more. I mean, they were explorers. They were brilliant. They were just amazing. And I like Norse mythology better than the Greek and Roman. Just fun fact. And Jamie says, people should be paid for their talent. It aligns with their passion. Hell yeah, that is true. And this has become my passion. I want the world to know that you don't have to suffer. I mean, I guess since 2015 and I went low carb and then down to keto, things were better. But how do you think anybody's really going to tell you, though, okay, just stop eating vegetables and see how you feel? Anybody in the medical community wouldn't. And I just sort of stumbled into carnivore, and then it's like, wow, holy cow, I feel so much better. This is great. I'm not anxious. I'm energetic. I have a more positive outlook in life. I mean, yeah, it brings joy. Dante Ferrigno sells merch. It's okay. Trust me, my son was almost a doctor. Okay. And see, I kind of remind myself of Kurt Cobain in a sense. He loved his music and performed it, but yet at the same time, he hated success. And it's not that you hate success. I really think, of course, but Kurt Cobain was a very strange bird. He was a Pisces too, though. So I kind of understand him in some ways. Yeah, I'm a Pisces. You probably can tell. And but he didn't like, I think, the things that success did to people. And he thought that it would stink to be a sellout, and he didn't want people to think that he was doing it for the money, because he really loved what he did. Now, of course, he got really messed up toward the end, and there was no logic whatsoever. But I believe initially that was what was behind his feelings. That's just my interpretation of it. I've read several biographies of his and lots of interviews and things like that. I was kind of fascinated with him. And then not like in a, ooh, I like Kurt Cobain sense, but like he's just an interesting person. And then when he took his own life, I remember that just disturbed me so bad. And it just disturbed me. And of course, it could have been because I was expecting my son, and so you do get emotional at that time. I don't know. Man, that affected me deeply, and I just was like, I suppose he was probably also just dependent on the drugs, and so just between all of that and everything, I guess he just couldn't handle it, or who knows, maybe he was just trying to get high and just accidentally did too much. I don't know. It's really odd. Remember Heavy Metal Magazine? Yes. And the first movie? Yes. Yep. Heavy metal. I can't sing. Well, I'm not going to say that anymore. I mean, I'm not going to sing for you, but no, there is no try, there is do. I am not going to say that I can't do something anymore. That's one thing that I'm working on. It's not saying that I can't. So, however, I'm not going to put you all through me singing. Ha! Jamie says, Mike makes you an expert. All right. I've used this joke before, but a lot of Vikings live around here. Even the chicks are taller than they. Oh, excuse me. That was bad. You are so right. Oh my goodness, dad joke. Sammy's heavy metal, from the scream to the guitar solo, epic. I've got the soundtrack to that somewhere. I may even have the VHS of it. Okay, y'all, I've got a confession to make. I have a VHS player. What happened was I went through a bunch of stuff, and I got rid of a lot of things. And but I had all these concert videos, and I was like, I'm not getting rid of these. And so I put them in a tote, and I put them in the closet up underneath the stairs. Well, fast forward, and I was going through some things, and I found some other things, another closet, and I found an Emerson VHS player. And that thing looks like it's brand new, but it's like, God, it's old. And so I was like, wow, this is in really good shape. And I was like, I can watch some of those old concert videos like the Motley Crue documentary and different ones. So I went online and got an adapter and everything. And so now I've got the VHS VCR hooked up. And so I watch. So all of that to say that I think I have heavy metal in VHS. And I also have the soundtrack. Yep, do or do not. There is no try. Yep, VHS. That's right. So I do have a DVD player, and I have VHS, and I have, like, I can stream. It's like through AT&T TV, so I can stream stuff. But I rarely watch television. I don't even know why I have it, to be honest. It came with my internet, and I mean now it's like a few dollars more, but I'm like, so I don't know. I might ought to just cancel it. And then I watch like documentaries and things like that on YouTube. And then I got hooked on carnivore videos. Mike says, I wish I'd have saved my VHS as I used to work at night at an NBC station and recorded comics on Johnny Carson and Letterman. Oh, man. Well, hindsight's always 20/20, isn't it? It always is. Man. Okay. Well, I've been yapping for an hour and a half, I think, right? No. Let's see. I started at 4:30. No, 5. I started at 5, and so it's 6:31 Central Time. This is another thing. Carrie is trying to be very cognizant of time zones. Oh, poor Hoosier. I still feel bad about that. Anywho, and of course, here I'm terrible about this whole YouTube thing. I should have told you in the very beginning to like and share and subscribe if you haven't already and that kind of thing, but I didn't. So maybe hopefully you liked and shared anyway because you really like it. And I will put that link in the notes and we shall see if it works. So I will do that as soon as I get offline here. And I have had an Elgato capture card to dub from VH. Oh, wow. Did save some family stuff. Well, that's good. 91 minutes. So, yeah, you have 16 likes and only 8 watching. So you're good. All right. My peeps. Oh, man. You guys are fabulous. I love you all. And I really do. I love the carnivore community. Everybody is just the best. And so I think I'm going to do Meat and Metal Mondays. I'm just going to keep doing them because I think it's fun. And so I think I'm going to probably start I'm going to maybe try to schedule the next one for 4:30 again. It seems like the earlier evening times or the earlier Central Time times are better for most people. Like I know Dr. Berry does a stream at 6 Central. And so I thought maybe if I had started mine at like 4:30 and then if it went over, it would have been on only like an hour and a half, for example, at this point. And then people, when they drop off to go watch Dr. Berry, that would give them time to watch me and then they could watch him. So I'm going to maybe schedule another Meat and Metal Monday for next Monday. And I'm going to schedule it again for 4:30. And we will see. Hopefully, I will not have to change the time on that one. All right. I love you all and have fun at the concert. Yes. I am going to, and I will give you all a full report and show you the shirt that I buy because I've got to get 2 shirts, man. I got to get a Rob Zombie. I do not have a Rob Zombie shirt, and I've actually never seen Rob Zombie, and I never saw White Zombie either. So this is going to be awesome. And man, I love Rob Zombie. He's fantastic. That was another one me and my son used to listen to. Yes, I'll be the Dr. Berry pregame show. That's right. Dr. Berry is late. Really? Ah. All right, rock on, everybody. I'll put a shirt link in the show notes or the description, depending on which term you use. I love you all, and you all have a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.